This is the video that every father going through a relationship breakdown needs to watch, especially those who think they know their ex so well that it'll never happen to them because spend a day in court and you'll see it's full of men who never saw it coming. You probably don't know this, but why would you unless you've been through it yourself or witnessed it happening to someone close to you? There is a simple formula that many women use out of revenge. It doesn't always happen immediately, but once she's decided it's time to get back at you, she'll learn this formula from friends or one of the many taxpayer-funded organizations dedicated to helping women. It's not necessarily in this order, but the actions and outcomes are always the same. When you cross that invisible line of no return for her, like getting a new girlfriend or looking too happy without her, anything that she decides warrants, in my humble opinion, the worst punishment in the world, taking away your children, the first thing she'll do is head straight to the local magistrate's court and file for what's called a family violence intervention order by making up some story as to why she's suddenly terrified of you. Now, the court will immediately grant an interim protection order against you without her having to prove any of it, because no judge wants to be on the receiving end of a media storm when and if an actual domestic violence perpetrator kills a woman that the judge refused to protect. And no, there are no consequences to your ex fabricating a story because, again, no judge will hold her accountable for perjury, as they don't want to prevent real victims from coming forward out of fear that they may be prosecuted if they can't prove their story. So in short, she'll easily get a protection order against you, and if in her allegations she claims, which she will, that your children were even simply witnesses to her unproven allegations of family violence, then the magistrate must, by law, include them as affected family members on the intervention order. This means even if you had your children half or most of the time since your separation, whatever, a little bit of the time, doesn't matter. You suddenly cannot even communicate with them, talk publicly about what you're going through, or mention your ex, or even that you have children on any public forum. It strips you of all your parental rights while gagging you along the way, and it takes approximately 2 years to fight it, depending on how backed up that particular court is. In the meantime, if you want access to your children, you need to file in the family court, and as soon as you do that, she'll make a statement to police alleging domestic violence. Mind you, like I told you before, the formula is the same, but not always in this order. Some women start at the police and the cops file the intervention order on their behalf. It doesn't matter because the outcome is always the same. Police will interview you and likely charge you, leaving it to you to prove your innocence. Here's the clincher. She'll go back to the family court and let them know that you now have an open domestic violence matter in which the judge in the family court, he'll say they cannot give you unsupervised access to your children until the criminal domestic violence matter is closed, because the family court can't access the files to either determine innocence or guilt, or not even that, even just the potential seriousness of the allegations. They can't look at it. So the court will always play it safe for the protection of the children, because they have no idea. Maybe you are a serious domestic violence perpetrator, and just to put the kid's safety first, they won't risk it. So you're left with two options to close the criminal domestic violence matter. One, if the allegations aren't serious, you can plead guilty to a summary offense or offenses, and you'll likely get access to your kids pretty soon after that. Two, fight to clear your name and not see your kids in the meantime. In short, fathers going through relationship breakdowns are guilty until proven innocent, and often when they do plead guilty, they're only really guilty of loving their children and wanting access to them and being a part in their life. It's a broken system. And to add insult to injury, it costs nothing for the woman to use the courts and your children for her personal vendetta, as once a woman claims domestic violence, they can access all the public funding in the world. Meanwhile, just fighting for custody, not even the criminal matter, will cost a man a minimum of $100,000. And guess what? The child support system rewards the woman who behaves like this. Seriously. The less time the children spend with the dad, the more they have to pay the mother each month, even if he's done nothing wrong and he's fighting tooth and nail for equal shared custody. Oh, and Don't get me started on the men's behavior change program that the court will order you to do. 20 sessions of man-hating bollocks, which oddly enough, there is no equivalent for women, even though on your first day there, they'll get you to fill out a questionnaire that describes what they consider family violence. To put into perspective, physical violence is only one of probably 100 on their list. The rest of it is emotional and manipulative behavior that I guarantee you your ex was a master of. But again, of course, there's no course for women. The entire experience is horrible for you for sure and for your children. But I can promise you one thing, it gets better. So breathe and go through the process. Try your best not to act through emotions because male suicide rates indicate too many young fathers lose hope too early. And our jails are full of men who took the bait and gave their once closest friend precisely what she wanted. Don't become a statistic. Hang in there. You're not alone. You can probably tell I'm super passionate about this issue, and I believe so much needs to be done in this space. But for now, help me educate your friends and family by sharing with or tagging someone who needs to hear it. And then, if you're interested in my personal story, head to rebelfromthestart.com, get my book. It's available now in paperback and Kindle. Rebelfromthestart.com. Sometimes hearing someone else's story helps more than anything.